Hello, everyone. We are right now in the middle of the second week, and I feel that I have to talk about something that has been bugging me ever since I started grading the first reflection. I got the impression that some of you answered the question without paying much attention to the material that you had to read for the week. For the first reflection, or for the first week, you had to read the first part of the book by Andrew Lunsford. And maybe some of you didn't find this reading that relevant because this is very general about the importance of having a rhetorical awareness today, and which is somehow general knowledge and not specific information that you need to use when writing your essays, but just as a background information. But I think that there are some parts in this chapter that are essential for your future work. For example, if you check the book on page 27, and I'm making reference to the page of my ebook version, some of you have the hard copy and maybe the page might not be matching, but it should be around page 27, 25, or 30. In the section reading to understand and engage, I think this part uh, from the chapter is crucial because it's the reading critically, a notion that is essential in developing a rhetorical awareness. The author presents the notion of an annotated text by author Anatole Breuer, and he mentions that annotating a text is the action that you take when you read and then you respond to the text critically. We don't have to assume that what we read now is we don't have to take it for granted, or what we read now could be maybe is not accurate or is not correct altogether. So we are in a position to make critiques, and a way to do that is by annotating the text, and something that is done in early in the writing process. You're reading now chapter 2 or the second part of our class, which is the writing process, and part of the process is to have a critical relation with the material that you read. And here, Anatole Breuer mentions that annotating a text is when you bring yourself into the conversation with the writer, and then the things that you do with the text that you could scribble in the margins, you can write side notes, you can cross out part of the text, or you make a mark of some sort, maybe as a reminder for future reference if you have to come back and read the material again. And why am I mentioning this now? Because the annotated text is something that you have to show in the portfolio. So uh, this coming Sunday on the 26th, I will be releasing the topic for the writing assignments of the class that I already announced in the video conference, that would be about the internet and technology, and how technology and the internet have changed our lives today. So we have the chance to read around 8 articles, and then choosing from the articles that I will give you, you have to write a summary, an analysis, and an argumentation essay, choosing any of the articles that I'm providing. So part of the job that you have to do, part of the work that you have to do, is make text annotation. So it's important that you understand this part. If you come back here to page 27, the author Lanford mentions what the highlights of annotating a text. For example, you highlight the most important points and any thesis statement or the key idea. You identify the key terms and look them up if necessary, and then you write them on the side if you feel that is necessary. Underline things that are unclear or confusing, or and jot down your questions in the margin. So that is a private relation. Usually, I wouldn't care much for this part of the work, because that is something that you do behind the curtain. So, but now from this semester on, you have to present evidence of your work in the process of writing your essays, and then you have to present these samples in the portfolio. You have to choose two annotated texts, and present at the end, or as you annotate, and you have to present this text in the portfolio. This is an example on page 27 of a text by Catherine Spriggs, and here is what the author, the reader, did with the article or the essay. He signaled, or the thesis statement of the piece, and some important ideas and some consideration. If you check the first one here, the author says, "I wonder what he means by buying local." This is a notion that is not clear in the original text. Or this paragraph shows her stand strongly in favor of sustainable farming and buying local. So this is an article about local markets or farmers markets in the United States, and the annotation that one author did, something that you have to come back here when you start writing your essays. So this is about week 1, and let's talk about a bit what is happening right now in week 2. We are right now in the second week, and as I recommended right from the outset of the class, you have to download the calendar and the planner. I'm sorry. If you check here the planner, you realize that you have the second partial, the quiz, the second quiz, parallelism in the sentence. You have the first partial test tomorrow, Friday, March 24. You have the second reflection quiz by the end of the week, and you have quiz 5, the thesis statement, and you have all the closing dates. And I mentioned early in the semester that I don't have a specific deadline, but the quizzes are open, and you should be taking the quizzes as you have been making progress in your reading during the week. If you check quiz number 2, number 4, and number 5, you realize that is more than one attempt. If I give you more than one attempt, it is not because I want you to take the 3 attempts at the end on Sunday or an hour before closing time. I gave you 3 attempts because you, after completing the first attempt, you'll get the score, but you won't be able to see the results. So if you get a score and you're not happy about the score, all you can do is take the quiz again and again and again. In some quizzes, you even have up to 6 attempts, depending on the complexity of the quiz. Here, if I give you 3 attempts, they are meant to be taken in time, not just all together. Because if you take the 3 attempts in one single day, in one single hour, the whole point of the activity is missed. So it's important that you take the first attempt. If you're not happy with the results, then think about what might possibly go wrong with the answers, and then take it again and again until you get a result that is more satisfactory for you. Also, you have to check here that you have in the self-assessments of the week, you know where the self-assessments are in your platform. They are here under Otros. You have to take the self-assessments of the week, and I don't have a way to see when you take these self-assessments. They are graded immediately by the system. I fed in the feedback. If you make a mistake, you'll be able to see the mistakes, and then all the self-assessments relate to the quizzes that you're taking during the week. So the word of advice is do the self-assessment first, and then go and take the quizzes. In the qualitative self-assessment is the first qualitative part of the class, in which you have to recall what you have done in the first 2 weeks, and then give me like your self-evaluation of your progress in the first 2 weeks, and also about the results that you have had in these not graded self-assessments after you took them. So I requested in the portfolio part that when giving me a self-assessment, you have to give me evidence that you did these exercises. If you made mistakes, you have to tell me where you made mistakes, and if you had issues with one of the particular answers, then what you did about it. If you studied again, if you check somehow, if you check the contents in the week to see where you were making the mistake. Also, in the second week, you have the object, and this is the object that you have to focus your attention on because the first partial test would be about writing a thesis statement, which is part 6 of the object. And it's important that you pay attention in the writing process uh, to my text that accompanies the book, and also you should pay attention to the different steps in the writing process, beginning with pre-write generating ideas, the pre-writing techniques, and and these are some examples. And remember, you have to give me evidence of the pre-writing techniques that you use also in the portfolio. And you have this document over here by John Langan from the book College Writing Skills with Readings. Um, you when studying this section in the writing process, you will also find the here composing the text, an introduction to the basic structure of the essay, and you will get to some examples of introductions, and also you will get to the thesis statement, as I said, on page 6. Here on page 6 on, you have all you need to know about the thesis statement of an academic essay, something that I will be testing tomorrow. So it's important that you study this section thoroughly, that you do the exercises online, the self-assessments about the thesis statement, you do some of the quizzes about the thesis statement before you take the test tomorrow. I hope since today is Thursday, you still have today and tomorrow to study this section and then ask questions if you feel that you need to ask one question. Thank you.